What's up, everyone? All right, well, if you watched my recap earlier, you already know that my thumb has a mind of its own, and today, this afternoon, it took over. It started pressing the buy button, and I couldn't stop it, but that was a good thing because we got a short squeeze on SIDU. This thing went up over 300%. This was the stock that I first traded this morning, and if you recall from my first trade on it, when I first sat down, it was at the time the most obvious stock. It was not the stock that was on my watch list from yesterday, Sunday, going into Monday. But this morning when I sat down, SIDU was our number one leading gainer. And it was the first stock I traded right at 7 a.m. But after the 7 a.m. squeeze, it kind of sold off. And then all of a sudden, it started creeping back up. And right here at around 11 a.m., it pulled away, went all the way up to 3, dipped down, ripped up to 350, pulled back, broke through 4, dipped down, up through 5, and all the way to $7 a share. This was a really nice move. So now I'm sitting here at 2 times the daily goal, up $10,308.58. Now this is a nice way to start the week. I did not overstay my welcome on SIDU. I got out, and once I got my final exit, which was at 656, I did not get back in. Why didn't I get back in? The topping tail candle that formed. So let's break down the trades that I took this afternoon on SIDU. It's not my typical MO to trade in the afternoon, but as it turned out today, I was at my computer anyways. I was sitting here and I was watching this thing squeeze up. Now, I was trying to get some other work done, but out of the corner of my eye, I kept looking over and I kept seeing SIDU just grinding higher. So when I looked at it, and by the way, SIDU right now has 291 million shares of volume. This is incredible. Over $1 billion traded hands today on SIDU. Unbelievable. Just incredible volume, incredible liquidity. And look at the float. The float on this thing is super low. So you've got a low float, and that's what allows it to make such an incredible move. Because anyone who was in this yesterday who wanted to sell, the float's 3.3 million shares. They could have all sold almost 100 times over, and the stock is still holding up. And that's a really important concept. It's the concept of float rotation. And you had on this like almost 100 times float rotation. Just really impressive. Okay, so if we look at SIDU, my issue with it was that I kind of knew it was going to be a grinder. And I knew that even when I took my first trade on it here, because it already had like 10 million shares of volume, maybe more. But I took that first trade on it. I got my cushion on the day, taking that break through 250. We got the squeeze up to 270. It then pulls back, kind of dipping back down below VWAP. At the open, it pops up, sells off hard, and is below VWAP. But then all of a sudden around 10:15, it breaks back above VWAP to 240. Now I saw it hitting my scanners, not here. It was right here on this candle that I got the audio alert that it was hitting my scanner, because at that point it was hitting a new high of day. Now I've got a couple different scanners that I run, but the scanner that's got the audio alert that was still on was my high of day momentum scanner. So these scans here are searching for stocks that are hitting new highs. And so when SIDU hit a new high of day, boom, I got the audio alert. So then I look over and I see, golly, this thing, look at that candle from 250 all the way up to almost $3 a share. A nice 50-cent squeeze on over 2 million shares of volume in that candle. So I didn't trade it there. I just saw it. I saw it pop up here with a big topping tail. And I thought, I don't like that. It's a little too choppy. It ends up selling off back down to 280, goes down to 280. And then it rips all the way here up to 350. It pulls back. I'm watching it here, but I don't trade it. What I noticed on this was that there were some big sellers. There were also, however, some big buyers, and I was just a little bit thrown off at that moment because I just thought, I don't know, this feels a little weird. It's so thickly traded. It's so crowded. I'm not sure if this is going to work. I don't think it's going to be clean. I don't know if it's going to go parabolic. But it ends up stair-stepping higher. It goes from 290 up to 350. Then it goes sideways up to 4. And then it starts another longer pullback right here. So as it's doing that pullback, I started observing the 5-minute chart. And on the 5-minute chart right here, we had this really kind of, this 5-minute chart here. So we had this kind of big pop, pulls back, sort of long consolidation. And I saw some people in chat saying, I'm liking SIDU for a retest of the high a day. And I pulled it up and I looked at it and I thought, no, I see what you're saying, but it's still pretty thickly traded. But then right here, it goes from 4 all the way up to 5. And that was $1 a share. So then I felt some FOMO that I didn't take that trade. But it sells off back down to 430, bounces back up to 5 right here. And I broke the ice. Let me pull back my trade here. So I didn't break the ice until it started to pull away. But I got in at $5, just over $5. So let's see. Let me pull this back. So it goes sideways here. It comes back up. It comes right up here. So now I'm watching it, and this is where I got in. Right here as we break through this resistance level. This is where I was like, all right, I missed the first, I've already missed a couple of nice trades on it, but I'm going to take this trade here. So we get the break of 5 right here. It squeezes up to a high of 548, but then notice this red shooting star. I see that red shooting star and it's on higher volume and I take my profit. I think, I don't know, this seems like a reversal candle, but it goes higher. So it goes all the way up to 580. And so it goes up to 580 and I'm like, gosh darn it. But it pulls back here, and on this pullback, I get in for the break over 580. And I actually got in on that first candle to make a new high. It dips down, and then right here, it rips through 6. And so now I'm in on this break of 6, and we go all the way up to 640, micro pullback, all the way up to 660, 680, and that right there was our peak. So we peaked at about 684. My problem with these two candles was the big topping tail, right? The way it popped up and then sellers pushed it back down. It popped up and then sellers pushed it back down. And I was watching it in this area, but then the 1 minute MACD crossed over. So once we had that crossover, I was like, no, I can't trade it anymore. That's it. And I didn't. I just traded this kind of leg of the move as the MACD was open right here. We got that break of 5 and we got this move right here. So from 5 to 684, that's a solid move. And in hindsight, it was similar to what we had here at 4, which would have been a solid trade right in there. And that's kind of the one clean one that I missed. Now, this trade back through here, I don't regret missing this one as much because those topping tails definitely threw me off. I mean, I could have, but at that time I was in a meeting, so I was I had an eye on the chart, but I wasn't very focused on it. I just sort of was half watching. But then by this point here, I started getting, it was right in this area, I started getting more dialed in. So going back to watching, your MACD, when the MACD is open, that's definitely going to be more favorable. That's the area that I find it easier to trade. Watching for those big red volume bars. You did have a couple of big selling candles here, a couple of big ones here. And it's kind of remarkable to me how much this stock is up because I really didn't expect it to hold up all day long. But you know what? It didn't really go like truly parabolic. If we look at the biggest candles of the day, I mean, what were the biggest candles? I mean, I might have been in actually on some of the biggest candles, but let's see. So this one was from the open was 567 to 612. So it's like a 50-cent candle. This was like 40 cents. So 40, 50-cent candles. I mean, that's pretty good, but you know me. I mean, I like to get some really nice parabolic price action. I mean, I'd like to get $1 a share. So when that started pulling away up to 6, I was like, okay, next target 650. Broke 675, I'm like 750. That's what I would have loved. And we've seen some of that recently where we've seen, we had ZJK just last week. Was it last week or the week before now? I can't remember. But in any case, ZJK, where in a matter of 15 minutes, this stock went up $40 a share. $40 a share. I know, it's absolutely insane. I can't believe I didn't completely crush this one. But this went from $10 all the way up to $50 a share. So that is parabolic. We didn't get a parabolic move on SIDU, but it was definitely a grinder and it did not let shorts off the hook. And I'm sure that there were some shorts that got squeezed out who were shorting it below VWAP here looking for a fade and then, keep adding. And the problem with these setups is that the higher it goes, the more you want to add to the short side because you're like, it's only a better reversal. The reversal is going to be even bigger. But if you start with a big position here, I mean, how much heavier can you go? You double, now you're in full size, now you're at max loss, right? So you might have the right idea, but it doesn't work. And I say this because I used to like to buy reversals of stocks that were selling off. So a stock would be selling off, I would buy the dip. And I did reversals to the short side too, where a stock was squeezing up. And I would look for the first doji candle and then take a short for the first candle to go red. And there were times where, I would take that short and then all of a sudden it's rallying to a new high. And I'm like, well, I shouldn't cover because it's just getting more extended. It's going to be an even better short when it does roll over. But, you can't stick with these forever if they're going against you. And this definitely squeezed out some short sellers today. So SIDU gave some great action. WKEY, this one ended up going up to a high of 14. So that kept going higher. That was great to see. TNXP currently up 127%. That's a cheaper one. OPTX, that's a cheaper one. LAES, I saw this one sold off a bit going into the close. But, overall, pretty decent action today. I mean, it wasn't as great as I hoped it would be, I suppose. But, twice the daily goal is nothing to complain about. That's $10,000 is a really solid start to the week. So now, this week is, kind of really moving in the right direction. Now I've got a cushion here on Monday. So I'm going to feel comfortable taking a little bit more risk tomorrow. Now, if today had been a red day, I wouldn't feel so comfortable taking a lot of risk tomorrow. I'd be a little bit more cautious. But today's a green day, so I'm in the driver's seat. So now I'm thinking, all right, boom. Tomorrow morning, we have a couple of nice stocks on the scanner. I've got a cushion. I'm going to step up to the plate, take a little bit of risk. Maybe on the first trade, I can make $5,000, hit my daily goal. Second trade, I'm up to $10,000, $12,000. Third trade, I'm making my way to $15,000 to $20,000. And all of a sudden, in 2 days, I'm at $30,000 on the week. Now, that's optimistic. Of course, being a trader requires you to be eternally optimistic because this can be such a difficult job. But I'm going to be optimistic. If I look at last week, so let's see, my P&L from last week, let's switch to gross. It's taking a second to load. So best day of the week last week was 37,000. That was on Wednesday. Monday was dead, only was up 2,300 gross. 13,000 on Tuesday, 37,000 on Wednesday, and then slowed down a little bit going into the weekend, but not that bad. And I still have to import my trades from Thursday and figure out why those didn't come through the first time I tried. So anyways, I don't know how many of you guys traded this afternoon, but SIDU, good job for those of you guys that got trade on it. That gave you guys a nice squeeze. So that was great to see. And look, I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. I'll be live streaming starting at 7 a.m. So if you are not already doing a 2-week trial at Warrior Trading, link will be pinned to the top of the comments and in the description. So join that 2-week trial. Come watch over my shoulder for the next 2 weeks. And I think you'll be pleased to be part of the Warrior Trading community. All right, so thanks as always for tuning in. I'll remind you, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you guys back at it first thing tomorrow morning.